Hello.
And welcome
to Nightmare Nation,
a paranormal-themed podcast where we talk about haunted places around the world.
And scary things.
And ghosts.
And demons.
And haunted houses.
Ooh, and witches.
Spooky things.
You just went down a different path I was not expecting today.
I felt like I had to change it up a little bit.
Yeah, you did, and I can't handle change like that.
I know, and then I panicked after you responded to my change, and I was like, oh my god, what am I going to say next? I don't know.
We can't go out of our normal routine.
I broke the rhythm.
You did.
I threw off the groove.
That's okay, because sometimes I need to be thrown off my, what's what I'm looking for.
Rhythm?
Yeah. Groove, something like that.
Shake things up a little bit. Give them a little stir.
Gotta give them a little shake.
A little shaky and shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
Exactly. That's what that was. That was the classic shake and bake maneuver.
Shake and bake.
Classic.
Shake and bake all the time.
So yeah, we like to talk about scary things,
yeah.
and we like to bring them to you as listeners.
Because you also enjoy scary things as much as we do, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be listening to the podcast.
Yeah, if you don't, why are you here?
Yeah.
I have to question that life choice.
Get out of here.
It's because we're so funny.
We are practically comedians.
Practically.
We should probably start our own tour now of the hilarity that happens on our podcast.
Only if alcohol's involved.
Yes.
Then I will go on tour. Because we're so much funnier when we're slightly buzzed.
Yeah. We're pretty hilarious people.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we're not buzzed, we're
true.
pretty freaking funny.
But the freaking champagne ghost motel,
that was so
ghost
good.
motel, fucking clown motel was so
perfect.
Good. Yeah.
We should probably just drink champagne now.
Yes, probably.
Just buy a celebratory.
Not celibate.
Celibate?
I'm going to cheat on everyone.
Oh, good. We're saying champagne all the time, I guess.
Yeah.
We're drinking red wine right now.
We are.
It's quite see-through for a red.
It's very...
Which was very...
opaque? Transparent?
Yeah, it's strange.
Thin?
Yeah.
But it tastes good. Oh, jinx.
Oh, you owe me a glass of wine.
You got one.
Give me another one.
Get you a second one.
Just have like a bottle sitting right in front of us.
We basically should just bring the liquor cabinet upstairs when we record.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
That's just what needs to happen.
So anyways, so we like to talk about scary things, and tonight we're talking about... Yes, ma'am?
I'm Anna.
Oh my god! I remembered! I'm so proud of you.
I know.
/ us. Okay, I'm Annie. Hi.
Hey, I'm Anna.
Hey,
now
what's up?
You can hear me a little bit more and not whispering.
I'm sure
into the
they could
microphone.
hear the whisper.
Should we just do our podcast like this from now on?
How many listeners would we piss off if we just whispered the whole time?
We would piss so many of them.
Bye. Any small following we had is gone now. So.
Wait, look at that difference.
I know.
Oh, gosh.
This is just so aggressive.
I need to calm down my voice a bit.
You settle down.
She carries. She's just loud and obtuse.
Obtuse. That was a great word choice.
Thank you. It just came to my noggin.
It just popped right in.
It was right there.
And then it was there.
Then it came out of my mouth.
And then I heard it. And now it's in the recording.
Is that how that works? That's why we need to go on tour. We're just fucking hilarious.
Like, what are we even talking about?
I don't know. We just go down rabbit holes real easily.
One of these days we're going to find some actual rabbits.
We probably will. And then we can dig in the hole with them. We can be like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
It'll probably be when we're on like acid or something.
Yeah. I want to talk to a pot-smoking caterpillar.
Sounds like my kind of caterpillar.
That movie is so druggy.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
I remember I took a fantasy class in high school and we read all sorts of fantasy books, and Alice in Wonderland was one of them.
Yeah.
It was strange.
Alice in Wonderland got kind of ruined for me because there was this really interesting computer game called Alice about... So essentially the whole idea is that Alice daydreamed like the whole place, right? She like took a nap under the tree and dreamed the whole thing. And then the premise of the computer game is that while she was sleeping, her parents died in a horrible fire.
Oh, gosh.
So she becomes an orphan, and then she goes insane, so that the next time she goes to Wonderland, it's actually a freaking nightmare hellscape of, like, monsters and things, and it's a survival horror game where you have to literally run around and, like, kill all of... Because, like, all of the characters, like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, have transformed into these, like, hideous, disgusting monster twins, and you have to, like, kill them with a knife.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
So literally she's like in an insane asylum and goes to Wonderland. But this time it's fucking terrifying because she's insane.
Perfect. Well,
yeah.
That's not cool.
So I can never not think about that.
I don't think I would either.
I'm like, why?
Shit.
That's so terrifying.
That's gross.
Yeah. Speaking of books, you need to fickin'.
You gotta fickin' read it.
You have to frickin' finish The Innocent Man.
Oh, gosh, I know.
So we can talk about it.
No, I'm like halfway through and it's just so
good.
And I just need to know what actually happens.
Yeah.
Because I'm so mad right now at the police officers.
Doesn't it just piss you off?
Yes, they're just
so
trying to find things to put these people in jail.
Like out of nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes. They have absolutely no evidence against this guy. And they're just... Okay, well, he could be a suspect because he has a past history and he saw this girl that night and lives like 2 blocks away. So obviously he's the killer when he wasn't even fucking there.
Yeah. And because you convinced him that his dream that he had was actually just a fucking memory and used a freaking, not even like real dream that he had after you freaking interrogated them for like 14 hours straight. And
that is what pissed me off the most.
You cannot do that.
You can't ask them... What was your dream? And then turn it into a confession.
And especially because it was never on the record in their freaking like interview that they did. They didn't even have like a record of them doing that. It just like fucking made shit up. It just, oh my God.
And they videotaped his confession in quotes.
Yes, but didn't tell him that they were going to use that. It's so
Yep. So I'll start reading her.
Guys, if you like literally like the most thrilling true crime book, like I just think John Grisham was such a good writer. He did such a good job with that book. I love it so much.
And now there is a TV show.
Yeah, we gotta
It's like an actual documentary on Netflix called The Innocent Man.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about if you didn't know what we were talking about.
I think I said The Innocent Man.
Did you?
I think so.
I don't remember.
That was all of 30 seconds ago. I can't be expected to remember
too long
these
ago,
things.
okay?
Yeah,
Gosh.
so in case you guys haven't figured that out yet, we also are obsessed with things like serial killers, true crime, psychology of people who commit murders, all that fun stuff.
It's perfect.
It's great. So every once in a while we get on random tangents like that where we talk about the criminal justice system. Which is awesome. Fascinating.
It is. It's so fascinating.
Okay.
So, on that topic of scary things.
Scary things.
Now that we're like 20, 10. Oh, only 10. Oh, that's not bad.
That's nothing.
Oh, shit.
That's freaking nothing.
This is actually pretty good for us. Normally like 20 minutes in, we're finally getting on topic.
Particularly coherent.
So,
all right. So,
I'm getting hot now.
I'm so sweaty. Okay. We're talking about nautical things.
I love nautical.
Nautical nonsense.
Just
like SpongeBob.
Can that be our title? Nautical nonsense. Yes! That's so perfect.
Either that or the shake and bake maneuver.
Shake and bake. Perfect.
Yeah.
Woo.
So where are we going,
Anna?
Anna?
We're going to the new London Ledge Lighthouse.
That's a lot of things.
Say that 3 times.
New London Ledge Lighthouse. That's a lot of L's.
That was only one.
I am not saying it 5 times. I am just not.
This is located in Groton, Connecticut.
Groton. I bet it's that with the long pause in the middle.
Yes. Yeah. In Groton, Connecticut, on the Thames, I'm gonna assume Thames River.
Isn't there one of those in actual London?
I have
the river
no
Thames.
idea.
Thames. Isn't that the actual river in London?
Thames. I don't know. I don't know anything in London. I don't live there. I don't fucking know
It's a
geography.
river in England.
Oh, but we're not taking you to the River Thames in England.
I'm so smart.
She's so smart. She knows all of her geography.
The smartest.
So smart.
Right.
So the lighthouse is located at the mouth of the New London Harbor. The New London Harbor Lighthouse was established in 1761 to mark one of the most important ports on the Long Island Sound.
Cool. She's old.
She's super old. This was an important beacon, but failed to warn mariners of the hazardous ledges located offshore. So I don't know, they had a lighthouse, but I'm assuming it was just very poorly lit.
Not up to the standards that the rocky cliffs needed.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, interesting. So lots of shipwrecks.
Yes.
Okay.
Inshore.
Great.
Stupid.
Demons, ghosts.
Yeah.
Dead people.
Dead
sailors.
people.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yep.
So then in 1853, Henry Hobart, superintendent of the lights at New London, asked local mariners...
You love that word.
I fucking like that word.
You love that word.
So much. Asked local mariners regarding the necessity of additional lights in the area. And the opinion was that a light instead of... So they had a buoy.
Mm-hmm. The little floaty thingies out in the water.
So that's all they had.
Oh.
I'm assuming.
Okay.
So the opinion was that a light instead of a buoy on Black Ledge at the entrance of the harbor would be a great addition to protect the vessels navigating along the shore.
Yeah, makes sense. I feel like a little freaking light buoy thing out in the water is not going to be enough.
No, not at all. They're not going to see it.
Not really.
little light on the top.
Little floaty thing.
It's here. Because people thought that they should have a light instead of a little buoy, Henry had signed petitions sent over to the Lighthouse Board to have a light on the ledge that October. But it didn't happen for 6 decades.
6 decades?
6 decades.
Dude.
So that is 6 decades of shipwrecks and people dying.
Dude.
And boats not knowing where the hell to go. Like, you'd think that it should be, like...
A priority?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
so that people don't die.
Insane how much of a delay that is. I thought you were going to say 6 months and you said 6
decades.
Not even 6 years. 6 fucking decades.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep. So they're a little behind.
What was the freaking
on getting
hang up?
Because government, I don't know.
I mean, that is some real government ineptitude, like at its finest. Jesus Christ.
We don't want to do this shit. We don't want to build it. We don't want to spend the money. So just deal with your little buoy.
Yeah. So what if a couple dozen sailors die? A horrible death every year. It's no big deal. Mm-hmm. It'll be haunted someday. It'll drive revenue. It's fine. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yep. All right. So,
okay.
Henry signed petitions. Took 6 decades for a lighthouse to be built. So, the Lighthouse Board finally requested funds to construct a lighthouse on Black Ledge in 1890.
Jesus.
Yep. They had to repeat this request 11 different times before Congress finally approved an act on April 28th, 1904.
Good God.
To approve a light being built, and it was approved for $60,000.
Wouldn't you guys, don't you have other things to worry about? Like, if it were me and I was like, oh my god, this is the 11th time we've heard this fucking thing. Like, let's just, say yes.
Get it done.
And move on with it. So you freaking quit wasting everyone's time.
Yes.
And bringing it to court or whatever, or getting it proposed, not court, but you know what I mean? Like, making everyone jump through hoops a billion times. What a waste of time.
Exactly. It's fucking stupid. I don't know who or what or how... But they decided that they needed more money for the lighthouse.
Yeah, $60,000 doesn't seem like a lot, even back in the 1900s.
Right? So additional funding was asked for, and they were approved for $115,000.
That sounds slightly better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lighthouse was built in 1909 by Hamilton R. Douglas Company of New London. The crib, which is I'm assuming it's the base of everything that the lighthouse sits on, it was made of southern yellow pine and held together with 9 tons of iron and steel.
That's a lot.
And how does it float? 9 tons. It's not I don't think it's anchored.
Is it not?
Unless they have an anchor,
but
it's
a ledge?
No, because it says that the lighthouse stands were constructed by T.A. Scott Company in Groton and was towed to the site. And the site of the lighthouse was filled with concrete and riprap and sunk in 28 feet of water.
Oh.
So I don't know if the depth there is 28 feet and it's actually on the bottom.
I would
Or
guess.
if it's like an iceberg just
chilling.
floating in the sea.
I would guess the concrete platform probably goes all the way down.
Yeah, I don't...
It's going to be close to shore. They wouldn't have it out like super deep.
Yeah, I
one would
suppose.
think.
That would make sense.
Interesting. This whole time I was picturing it more like Split Rock, like on an actual ledge.
Oh, no.
Not just like on
It's
its own
just
little
in the middle of
floating concrete
yeah.
block.
It's right in the middle of the harbor.
That makes some of my other comments later make a lot more sense. Okay. I'm enlightened now.
Perfect. So what was in the lighthouse, they had a cellar in the upper portion of the pier that contained coal and an oil room, a cistern. Cistern.
Yeah, it's like a water storage thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And a fog signal engine room. Then on the first floor of the lighthouse, there was a kitchen, sitting room, workroom, and 1 bedroom. Then on the second floor, there were 4 bedrooms. And on the third floor, it was divided into 3 different rooms. And one of those rooms housed the fog signal apparatus.
Whoa.
So when there's fog, they signal it out. So
on the apparatus?
Yes.
Oh.
So it helps you know that there's fog
Fancy.
coming in.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that New London residents did not want to gaze out at sea to a structure that would be out of place among their large and historic homes.
Oh my god, get over yourselves.
Right?
People are fucking crashing their
I
ships
know.
and dying.
Like, don't be assholes.
Oh my god, lighthouses are cool. Why would you not want a lighthouse?
They're fucking sweet. They look so cool.
I want a lighthouse in my backyard.
Yes.
Right now.
Build it.
Let's build it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
It can be our shed. It can be our podcast shed.
Our she shed.
Our she shed. Yes. Oh, that'd be so great.
Sit at the tippy top and just look out over the neighborhood and podcast and attract ghosts.
That
hopefully.
sounds fantastic.
Doesn't it?
So the lighthouse was built so it looked like a colonial and French architectural style. And that was used to design the lighthouse.
Because they wanted it to look all pretty and
Yes.
match their bullshit. Okay.
I mean, it's a beautiful house.
Actually, I haven't seen what it
It's
looks like.
super cool. It's like this really big red building with white trim, and it's fairly large.
I'm looking
It doesn't
it up.
even look like a lighthouse, which is really weird.
Just looks like a freaking floating house.
Pretty much. So the actual light that was used at the top of the lighthouse was a cast iron lantern that originally held a 4th order Fresnel lens and an incandescent oil vapor lamp.
Wow, that was real fancy.
I don't know what any of that means. Right?
Oh.
Looks fucking sweet.
It does.
Yeah.
It does look sweet.
It's like the coolest lighthouse ever.
It's a freaking house.
Yeah.
That is fucking cool.
Uh-huh.
I didn't look at it, like what it looks like. I just
really?
was reading. I didn't see a picture in any of the articles I looked at. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, that's so cool.
So then there was a clockwork mechanism that had to be wound every 4 hours to keep the lens revolving. When the lens was first lit, people said that it could be seen up to 18 miles away. It would flash 3 white flashes followed by a red flash every 30 seconds. There was also a 6-inch air siren that sounded at 3-second blasts every 20 seconds as needed. So it's just going.
Just doing shit all the time.
Yep.
Lights and sounds and all that jazz. And all that jazz. Don't know that musical?
I do know that.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know where it goes after that.
That's okay. I don't
section.
really know it either.
Okay. So.
Did you say 18 miles?
Yes.
That's a long ass way to see a light. That's pretty cool.
I mean, you have to give it enough. You have to give the boats enough time
give
to
her some juice.
be able to turn around.
Yeah, I suppose. You can't just turn around a car, do a little quick Yui in a boat. It doesn't work that way, I guess. But
they're a little too big. In 1911, they added a fog signal that replaced the New London Harbor light. And then in September of 1938, there was a terrible hurricane that hit the lighthouse, and the keeper at the time, Howard Beebe, said that it washed out everything. He said that at 3:15 a.m. the engines went out, but the light was still going. That was when they moved up to the lantern area, and the lighthouse is a 3-story building, and the waves were crashing and coming through the 2nd-story windows.
Oh.
Like, that would be terrifying.
Yeah,
stuck on this
story?
and stuck on a little island. Like, you can't get out in the middle of a hurricane, so you hope that you just don't die.
That's why you need to build the freaking lighthouse on the mainland, not on a freaking cement block in the middle of the water.
Exactly. It would be dumb. The Coast Guard crew lived at the lighthouse from after the hurricane until its automation in 1987. So the crew would work in 3-man shifts. So the thought behind it was if 2 men got in a fight, there would be a 3rd one to break it up.
Oh, good.
And they would work in rotational shifts, so they would be out there for 3 weeks living at the lighthouse, followed by 6 days living on shore.
By the way, sorry, mentioning the 2 men and the 3rd guy or whatever, made me think of the movie The Lighthouse. Did you ever watch that?
I don't think so.
Oh my god, if you had, you'd remember it. With Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Wasn't it just the 2 of them? Oh, weird. Yes.
I think we talked about this and I wanted to see it, but I never saw
don't watch it. It's the weirdest fucking... It's like super... like artsy, weird, like it's not a horror movie. It's absolutely not a horror movie. It's like a freaking weird psychological drama.
But it looks so good in the...
I know. I mean, and the guys do a great job acting, but it's just so weird. I can't even explain it. It's just the most bizarre waste of 2 hours I've ever seen in my whole life. They freaking needed a 3rd guy to intervene because these 2 dudes were like fucked up beyond all reason. Oh my god.
Perfect.
It's terrible.
So I won't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Okay.
It's so weird.
Got it. All right.
Okay.
So many people considered working at the Ledge Lighthouse as an undesirable duty, but some enjoyed the solitude and beauty of the place. It's just like a little getaway for them.
I can see that.
Out. Yeah.
For a short period of time.
Yes.
Not for too long.
No, I'd go crazy. In 1987, the lighthouse is finally de-staffed and turned to automation for the lighthouse. Then in 1988, the lighthouse was leased to the new London Ledge Lighthouse Foundation. And Project Oceanology, another nonprofit, started taking school children out to the lighthouse to educate students about maritime matters, and the program still runs today.
That's cool.
Yeah. In 2011, the Ledge Light Foundations cleaned up, repaired, and painted the lighthouse before installing an interpretive center. The center uses the entire lighthouse, and many rooms exhibit panels that educate the public about the ledge light and lighthouses in general. Then in 2014, ownership was changed to the New London Maritime Society after the General Services Administration announced that the lighthouse was excess to the needs of the Coast Guard and was being made available as no cost to eligible entities, including the government, nonprofits, parks and rec, etc.
Well, that was a whole lot of fancy schmancy stuff.
That was a lot of stuff.
I was like, what's who owns what and with what?
So it's just governments own the lighthouse, and that's about all you need to know.
That's cool. So you can go visit. It's like a museum. Yeah, that's awesome.
My sources are Wikipedia, NewEnglandLighthouses.net, and LighthouseFriends.com.
Oh, I want to be a lighthouse friend. Can I join your club?
Yes.
I love
it. Sounds perfect.
So,
tell me about the spooky things.
So there's some spooky things.
I want to hear all about the spooky things.
Because, like you said, I mean, there's like so many freaking people that like had shipwrecks and shit going on since they had a crappy freaking system for 150 years until they actually built the lighthouse. And as you can imagine, like you said, you're isolated and kind of alone when you're working there. And it's like you and one other person, and spooky things happen. So essentially, there's been lots of reports of spooky things.
Spooky.
So the show. Oh my god. So the lighthouse has been featured on several paranormal investigation shows, including Scariest Places on Earth.
Ooh, I love that show.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's so good. It's on the Travel Channel.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I like wrote this down and was like thinking, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen an episode of that show.
It's good.
Okay.
I like it.
I'll have to give it a try. So it was on that show, and then it was on Ghost Hunters, but I thought this was interesting. The Ghost Hunter crew didn't actually find enough evidence during their visit to definitively prove that the lighthouse was haunted.
Oh.
So they didn't really experience a lot, I guess, which is interesting because a lot of other people have like reported lots of different things. It just didn't happen while they were there, I guess. And I feel like that's the first time I've ever heard of that show being willing to walk away and say like, we didn't get any evidence.
The thing with ghost hunters is that that's what they were there to do. They're not.
Oh my God, I was thinking Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, no, they're complete opposite from Ghost Adventures,
where they just make up bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas ghost hunters, they actually go in to try and debunk what people are feeling and sensing and seeing, and they try to reenact what actually happened. So, because sometimes there are things that are explained. And so they go in trying to debunk everything that's going on, and sometimes they can't. So they're not going out to find ghosts. They're trying to go out to, like, essentially disprove.
They're essentially actually taking a scientific approach. And truly, when you hear the word investigation, they're actually doing that. Exactly. Oh my God, I have to tell you, so... You don't like video games, so you're probably not going to find this as cool as I do, but I really like this YouTuber named Markiplier who started playing this game called Phasmophobia.
Oh.
And you play, it's a multiplayer like online game, and you play as a team of paranormal investigators.
What?
And
that's so cool.
Oh my God, it's the coolest. And each of you gets like your own specific item. So one person has a spirit box, one person has like a journal that the ghosts can like write in, and one person has a thermometer, and like someone has an EMF detector and stuff, and you basically go in as a team, and when you arrive at the level, it like tells you the name of the spirit that you're trying to find, and you have to determine what type of spirit it is. Is it like a poltergeist? Is it a regular spirit? Is it an oni, which is like a Japanese demon type spirit thing? And you basically go around and play as this group of paranormal investigators, and the game like reads your microphone inputs. So like when you start saying the name of the spirit, it like makes the spirit more likely to show up and like do shit in the game.
That's so cool.
So they're all like, oh, Jenny Miller or whatever, like Jennifer White, like show us a sign. And then like the game registers that you're saying the spirit's name and like does shit. And people are playing with headphones, and like, so what's cool is like you can talk to your teammates, but if you're far enough away, you have to like radio them. And as you get further away from the other players in the game, like their voices get quieter. So if you like split up and your radio dies, like you can't talk to anyone else.
That's so
it's
cool.
so cool. And then the
Holy
ghost,
shit.
There was one point where they were all standing in a room talking to the ghost, like trying to get it to do stuff. And one guy started freaking out because in his left earbud, he heard the ghost say, "Hey."
No.
But it only happened in his headphones. And
shit.
And then if you die, your microphone gets muted. So like your character dies, and then like, so and this was like I think the first time they played it, they were like, Bob, are you there? Bob, like, what happened to Bob? And no one heard anything from Bob. And then they found his dead body in one of the rooms, because once you die, like, you can't, like, talk in the game anymore. And then afterwards, they found out that, like, he could still see everything that was going on in the game, but, like, you just get muted when you die. So they're all like, Bob? What happened to Bob? Where's Bob? And, like, oh my God, it was so cool.
That's so cool.
This is the coolest game ever. I feel like
shit.
Of any video game of all time, I
that
feel
is
like you
one
would
I
like
would play.
that. Yes. I kind of feel like we should get it and play it.
Probably should.
It was amazing.
That sounds
Oh
awesome.
my God, it was so cool.
Holy
oh
shit.
my God, I was like,
oh my God,
instantly obsessed. So, anyway.
That sounds perfect.
That was a long tangent.
That is my kind of game.
Yeah. I just thought it was so cool that, like, the ghost, like, interacts with you in, like, different ways. And, like, it was just cool. So
such a different way of, like, having an online game, too.
Yeah.
And to have it so it only picks out certain people, too, is crazy. That's awesome.
Oh, it's really, really effing cool.
Would like to play that now.
Let's do it. Next time we hang out, we should play it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Oh my God, Anna's gonna play a video game.
This doesn't ever happen.
I love video games, and Anna doesn't.
Fucking terrible at
Oh my God, it's fine. Okay, so anyway, ghost hunters didn't find any evidence at the lighthouse. But there have been many generic haunting stories of ghostly footsteps, doors opening and closing by themselves, and there have even been reports of the deck swabbing itself.
Oh, look at that deck just cleaning itself.
Getting all clean.
Oh man,
little sparkly
ghost
clean.
Come clean my house, please.
Seriously.
That'd be sweet.
Helpful.
Yeah.
So the most well-known spirit that haunts the lighthouse is that of a man named Ernie.
Oh,
yeah,
Ernie.
So
I love it.
So people actually don't think that's his real name. Like, there's no evidence that was actually his name. That's just the name that his spirit has been given over the years or whatever. So they generally refer to him as Ernie. And Ernie was quote Ernie, whatever his name was. He was a lighthouse keeper sometime in the mid-1920s. And while tending to his lighthouse duties, his wife, who lived inland, left her husband, Ernie, a letter explaining that she had run off with the captain of the Block Island ferry and was leaving her husband. This
bitch.
I should right?
God.
I should say this is not really like substantiated. This is just how the story goes.
Yeah.
So, consumed with grief, Ernie climbed up to the top of the lighthouse and jumped to his death. His body was never recovered, but many of the smaller-scale paranormal activity experienced in the lighthouse is attributed to Ernie's spirit.
Ernie, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So, we don't know what that guy's real name was or, like, how much truth there is to the story, but this is generally the legend of Ernie the ghost, and... He's the one that likes to, like, help stuff, though. He, like, swabs the deck and, like, does...
Oh, you go, Ernie.
I know.
I like you.
I know.
Oh, you poor thing.
So author William Thompson wrote that, quote, Ernie would turn on the foghorn, and he sometimes polished brass or cleaned the windows.
Oh, you go, Ernie.
He's just like, I'm gonna help him. I know. And supposedly only visiting women have ever seen his actual spirit.
Oh,
so other
Ernie's
people
trying to bring in some little women.
Well, yeah, he's a bachelor now because his freaking wife left him.
Fucking bitch.
So
God.
he's like, hi, ladies. So he's reported.
Come at me. I'm single.
Yeah, my wife left me. I'm super hot. Prime real estate.
Yeah.
So his spirit is reported to be a tall, bearded man in a slicker and rain hat.
What is a slicker?
Like a rain jacket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, picture the little kid from It with like the yellow raincoat. Yeah. So he like has done, a lot of people have experienced like feeling his ghost, but apparently only women have seen him. Oh. But that came from like one random blog thing. Oh, I should say my sources are astonishinglegends.com, damnedct.com, onlyinyourstate.com, a personal favorite of mine, and nelights.blogspot.com.
Oh.
So
Such blogs.
Such blogs. The bloggiest.
So many blogs.
Okay. So in general, people who have had encounters with Ernie's ghost have not reported feeling overly scared, and most people say that his ghost is generally playful and helpful. Many lighthouse employees who worked there in the decades following his death reported him helping out with their daily duties. So he's just the best.
You go, little Ernie.
As opposed to Anna, who'd be an asshole and like trip people.
Fuck you guys, you're cleaning up this mess. I'm gonna make it even more messy.
And Ernie's like, oh, let me help you. I'll polish the brass for you.
Nope. I would not do that.
I'm gonna make the brass dirty for you.
I'm gonna make it real dirty. I'm gonna throw it on the ground, bitches.
Rude.
It is what it is.
However, contrary to most beliefs that Ernie is responsible for most of the hauntings in the lighthouse, Bray Rafferty, who works at the New London Ledge Lighthouse Foundation, says that Ernie couldn't possibly be behind all of the hauntings and ghostly activity. So she spoke with a different woman whose grandfather helped build the lighthouse, and so that woman said that the strange phenomena at the site started before the lighthouse was even completed.
Oh.
With workers reporting eerie sounds, unexplained shadowy figures, and tools that mysteriously vanished during construction.
I mean, you are in the middle of an ocean/harbor. I feel like tools could just kind of fall into the water.
Yeah, and like eerie sounds, I mean, you're building a freaking building in the middle of the ocean, like,
and sound travels real quick.
Yeah, but apparently like the stories were spooky enough that like it got passed down through generations, because it was this woman's grandfather who had worked on the site, and he was scared enough that he like told them about it while he was there like working on it. So I don't know if that's fully true. But there is one more possible explanation of the paranormal happenings at the lighthouse.
Tell me.
Which was offered up by Jerry Olson, who also works at the Lighthouse Foundation. And he said that around 1913, a sailboat departed New Jersey bound for New Bedford. I don't know where that is. Probably in Connecticut somewhere. So the sailboat passed through the Long Island Sound, where it ran into a huge storm. So that night, the keeper of the New London Ledge Lighthouse said he looked out and saw a man and a woman in the water swimming desperately towards the shore. So after helping them out of the water, they told him that their sailboat had been destroyed and they had lost their daughter in the wreck.
No.
I know. What a bummer. But the next morning, when the keeper went to check on them, they had both completely vanished with like no signs that they had ever been there. Just totally gone. They didn't leave a note. They didn't talk to him. They were just gone.
That's weird.
What's even weirder is a few days later, that same lighthouse keeper was told by friends of his that they had rescued a young woman from the water who said her parents had been lost in a sailboat wreck. And she, too, mysteriously vanished the next morning.
She a ghost.
She's a fucking ghost. It's like, that is too much of a coincidence that her parents like show up and, we lost our daughter. And then a young woman shows up and she lost her parents and they all fucking vanish the next day. Yeah. What? No. Nope. That doesn't happen.
They died.
They died. Yep.
Huh.
So it's been said, according to Jerry Olson, the guy who gave that story, that, quote, on particularly dark nights, a spirit has been observed roaming the lighthouse, searching for a loved one. Mm. Over the years, people have encountered the spirit and named her the Lady of the Ledge.
Oh, the Lady of the Ledge.
Which is such a great nickname.
It really is.
I want that nickname for myself. Like, I want to be the Lady of the Ledge.
I'll call you the Lady of the Ledge.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're the best. You can be the Lady of the... I don't know, pick something else.
Night.
Lady of the Night. That makes you sound like a prostitute.
Yep,
I'm just saying. I don't want to burst your bubble, but you sound like a prostitute, so. Okay, so Jerry himself claimed that he once had a personal encounter with said Lady of the Ledge, and he says that he was alone in the basement of the lighthouse cleaning the cisterns when he distinctly heard the sound of a woman clearing her throat behind him. So he said that in his mind, like, immediately the image of an attractive middle-aged woman just like
just popped into his
head. Like,
oh, that's it was strange.
I know, it just like this image that was like really strong and came out of nowhere just popped into his head, and he was like, where the hell did that come from? Mm-hmm. And then he turned around and no one was there. So
weird.
This lady's like, I'm gonna get inside your brain. What up?
I'm coming for you.
Coming.
I want a man. Because I'm dead.
And her parents are dead. And so she's sad.
She's lonely.
Yeah.
Aww.
So aside from these possible, like, 3 explanations of where the hauntings come from, there's other generic stories of things that people have experienced in the lighthouse. So a lot of them come from different Coast Guard members. So a Coast Guard officer named Randy Watkins once heard his name being called from an upstairs room in the lighthouse when every other person there was asleep.
Oh.
Someone's just talking to Randy.
Just calling out for Randy.
Hey, yo, Randy.
Hey, Randy. Hey, Randy, come here. Come here, I gotta talk to you. I gotta talk.
So, his wife, Lucretia, also once spent a night in the master bedroom and said that she was awakened when the door opened, followed by the, quote, eerie feeling of someone in the room staring.
I don't like them
demon
staring
eyes in the darkness.
I don't like that.
So, a different Coast Guard officer on duty at the lighthouse once reported that loud crashes and unexplained knocks were following him around wherever he went.
I just got this image of a ghost walking around with a pan.
Just like clanging
just like
shit.
Banging it in his ear like...
Fuck you, dude. No, like wherever he goes, there's just clanging sounds behind him.
How unfortunate.
It sounds terrible.
It sounds awful.
That's enough to make you go crazy by yourself at the freaking isolated lighthouse and someone's just crashing sounds behind you.
Oh, God.
That's you.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
More
cowbell!
Every lighthouse needs a good dose of cowbell.
Yes, they do.
So he also was saying that the TV was turning on and off by itself, and several bed sheets mysteriously disappeared without a trace.
Oh, they gotta go wash those bed sheets.
Stealing shit. Maybe Ernie was going to wash them because he's so helpful.
Ernie,
it was Ernie.
You washed them sheets.
Thanks, buddy.
Gosh.
So in 1981, a ghost psychologist, where I'm like, I
want to be a ghost psychologist.
How do I go to school to be a ghost psychologist? Right? That was not offered to me in undergrad, and if it was, I would have done it.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, so his name is Roger Pyle. And he visited the lighthouse with his wife, who was a medium, during their visit.
Oh.
So according to the Pyles, just I can't.
Such an unfortunate last name.
I can't say it with a straight face. According to the Pyles.
The Pyles.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
A spirit revealed...
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure this whole story is bullshit. So he says that a spirit revealed itself to them, and they determined that he was a former lighthouse keeper named John Randolph. Apparently, there are actually no records whatsoever of any lighthouse keeper with that name. Mm-hmm. But the Pyles insisted that they felt his spirit there, and they were able to determine that he was never married, but had lost the woman he loved because of a terrible argument.
Oh, it's always a freaking argument with these people.
Like the lady who got her ring thrown into
just quit being mad,
train
people,
tracks.
okay?
Life's just short.
Love each other.
Well,
just be kind and quit being little fucking pansy asses, okay?
It's not worth screaming at each other.
God.
So the bummer is they had a bad argument, and then he proceeded to stab himself in the throat, falling from the lighthouse to his death.
That's so aggressive.
It's all these people, these freaking lighthouse keepers, as soon as one bad thing happens, they just kill themselves. Like
there are so many other things that you can do besides stab yourself in the throat.
I mean, like, I know your wife leaving you is sad, Ernie, but, like, there's still a lot to live for.
There's so much to live for.
You'll meet someone else. You seem like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like, you can meet someone else.
You don't need to stab yourself in the throat.
Or you lose the woman you love and you stab yourself and then die. It's not worth it.
No.
Just
move on and find yourself another lady.
Give yourself an appropriate time to mourn the relationship.
Yes.
Grieve. Do what you need to do. Like,
don't make hasty decisions,
no,
okay?
it's not. No.
It's not worth it.
So, but there's literally no record of this person ever existing, so this whole thing is probably bullshit.
Probably.
So, Dr. Pyle performed a ritual that was supposed to free Randolph's spirit, and a local newspaper reported shortly after that apparently ghostly activity had ceased. However, a separate news article from 1985 disputes the entire story and says the whole thing was bullshit.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so I feel like I had an ethical responsibility to report the story as, you know, an unbiased investigator myself.
It could potentially
be
have
true,
happened.
could be false.
Just like all of the stories that we say
just like
here.
Everything.
Because we just get it from the internet, and the internet doesn't always tell the truth.
What are you talking about? The internet is always right.
Always right.
Forever.
Yes.
On everything.
It only ever tells the truth.
Especially if it's someone's random opinion on social media, then it's definitely true.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's only their opinion, or you're just fucking stupid.
Yeah. Clearly.
No one else's opinion matters.
Right.
Yeah.
You get it.
I know.
You understand.
I do.
So in the 1990s, a reporter from Japan came to the lighthouse to investigate and said that all throughout the night, I don't know.
Fucking Japan just coming over to Connecticut to investigate a fucking lighthouse.
Made this gesture like, what the fuck?
Like, I wish I could just travel to fucking Europe and be like,
look at this lighthouse.
I'm just gonna go to this little lighthouse in the smallest town fucking humanly possible in England.
I was gonna say, I bet there's a lighthouse in England we could go to.
Probably.
Yeah. Anna, do you want to be lighthouse investigators?
Yes.
And we'll travel around the world, going to all the lighthouses.
Sounds great.
Okay. I'll sell the house. We'll take the profits and use it to travel the world in an investigation of lighthouses.
There we go.
And then we'll be poor, and we'll have to live in the lighthouse that I'm going to build in my backyard. So
yeah. But you won't have this house anymore because you would have sold it for the profit.
I'll sell the house, but I'll keep the lighthouse.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to exclude the lighthouse from the contract.
It's not part of the deal.
Yeah.
No. You're buying the physical home on the property. I'm carving out a section specifically for me and my lighthouse.
Yes.
And if you have a problem with that, you can
deal with it.
Piss off.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
Piss off, bitches.
Okay.
It's my fucking lighthouse.
My lighthouse. Back off.
Back off.
Okay, so a reporter from Japan came to investigate, I don't know why, and said that all throughout the night he heard people whispering into his ear, even though he was completely alone. In more recent years, paranormal investigator Christine Kaczynski...
Ooh, Kaczynski, huh?
Look at that freaking name.
Holy, that's a lot of letters.
It's a lot of consonants and not a lot of vowels.
No.
That was my guess at how to pronounce it, because my last name was Polish, and I feel like I have like a kindred spirit with these people that have ridiculously spelled last names.
Yeah.
So that's my guess.
Okwanski.
Okwanski.
It's the only way I know how to spell that name.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
You told me at one time, I was like, oh,
you never
okay,
forget it. Okwanski.
I got it. So then every time I looked at your last name, I only thought of Okwanski.
Okwanski. So, I almost said Krasinski, like John freaking Krasinski from The Office. Oh my god. Christine Kaczynski.
Chuck Kaczynski?
Kaczynski has visited the lighthouse on several occasions with a team of assistants and plenty of ghost hunting equipment. She says that she doesn't believe in the legend of Ernie, the lighthouse ghost, but says that her investigations clearly show the lighthouse to be the scene of immense spiritual activity.
Immense, you say.
And intense.
Oh, immense and intense.
All those good words.
All of my words, huh?
It's intensely, immensely haunted.
That's a new one.
I like it. It's an alliteration.
Yes, it is.
It's so fun.
Such words.
Such words. So her findings indicated that the third floor is the vortex of the activity.
The vortex.
Like the center of it all. And the northeast corner of the building is the most active. She also says that her research showed that the spirits are all generally benign and not dangerous, although one person on her crew said they felt strongly that someone or something did not want them there.
It's always one
I wonder what
person
it is.
that doesn't ever want you there.
I bet it's a ghost.
Probably.
It sounds like a ghost to me.
Weird.
Funny. Lastly, in August of 2006, a paranormal investigation team called New England Ghost Project spent a night at the lighthouse, and while no ghost was specifically appearing to their team, their psychic, Maureen Wood, apparently made contact with an angry male spirit. Probably one of the multiple guys who got pissed off that their women left them and then they killed themselves.
Yep.
She says the entity identified himself. Oh no, I forgot. There's a specific story for this one. So she says the entity identified himself as a worker performing maintenance on the roof and that his coworkers locked him out as a prank. And when he tried to get inside, he slipped and fell to his death.
What dickwads?
I know.
Go fuck yourself, guys.
You fuck off, you bitches.
God, how rude.
So according to the angry male spirit, the accident was covered up by those involved.
Well, of course it was.
Which conveniently explains why there's no evidence of this ever happening ever.
Well, right.
Which, I mean...
Because they're not going to get in trouble for it.
Yeah. So it could be total bullshit, and I feel like... If you're going to make contact with a, quote, spirit and have this big elaborate story about how they died and then but they covered it up and that's why the newspapers don't say it ever happened. I'm like, yeah.
You're not very credible then.
But, could you have just made the whole thing up? I don't know. You can't, it also stops it from being disproved, but it also makes it impossible to prove your story is true. So I don't know what to think about that one. So.
Yep.
That's what Maureen Wood says happened.
Maureen Wood. How much of a psychic are you?
I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
Maybe she's psycho. Gotcha.
So Allison knows a psychic, and we should probably go to her just because I'm super curious.
That's really interesting.
To see what she would come up with.
Yeah.
So we should do that.
So
you guys.
We have a story!
Oh my God.
We have another story coming from Anna's own family.
My bro was sent in this story. So he texted me last night. He's like, so I just got done listening to your podcast.
Thanks, Tim.
And you said to send in stories. So I don't know if this is something that you covered or if I told you about this story.
Dude, we'll take anything.
I was like, please tell us because I don't care. We'll talk about anything and everything. He's like, okay, well, I'll just send it over.
If it's even a slight bit weird, some weird thing happened to you, I don't care. Just I want to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So who doesn't love a good weird story?
I fucking love weird stories.
I know.
So he sent this in, and he never told me about this at all. And I am a firm believer that when people pass, depending on how close you are or what it may be, that they can come to you in a dream, during the day, whatever it may be. I'm a very firm believer that can happen. I've never had it happen to me, but I've heard multiple stories that it's happened.
So I have 2 stories to tell you after this is done about things that have happened in my family.
Perfect.
Okay. They're along the same lines.
Okay. So this is from my brother, and I'm just gonna read it verbatim. So our grandfather had struggled with illness for quite a few years, and at the end of his life, he was in hospice care in his home. Oftentimes, our dad would spend nights over there helping out. The morning he passed, I remember being awakened by my mom early in the morning to tell me the news. Obviously, I did not fall asleep after that, but began recalling the dream I had been awakened from. In the dream, I was running around a large house playing tag or something similar. In the middle of running around, I remember stopping briefly at the bottom of a set of stairs, looking up, and saw a man carrying someone up the stairs. I then went on my way to continue playing the game. Well, it turns out the night Grandpa passed away, our dad was spending the night. As Dad describes, he was woken up by Grandpa banging on the side of his bed. He then went to turn on the oxygen tank, which is believed to have helped provide my Grandpa with his last breath. Shortly after is when he passed. It was when I was laying awake after the news, thinking about the dream, that I realized when I stopped at the stairway and looked up, I'm going to start crying, I saw my dad. It's
okay.
I saw my dad carrying my grandpa up the stairs. Retelling this dream always makes my hair stand up, but that's not where it ends. That night, oh God, I didn't think it was going to hit me this hard. I read it last night.
It's okay.
Ooh.
It's different saying it out loud than reading it in your head.
Retelling this dream always makes my hair stand up, but that's not where it ends. That night, Dad, Andy, and I were planning on going to the Twins baseball game. Dad thought it would be a good idea to keep us occupied, and we chose to go to the game despite the circumstances. We only had 2 tickets at the time, but when we got to the game, Dad had to buy his ticket as close as possible to the 2 we already had. It happened to be right behind Andy and I. Halfway through the game, there was a fly ball hit which Jack Jones caught for the last out of the inning. He flipped it behind his back into the crowd where it flew right through my hands and into Dad's, who was sitting right behind both of us.
And he had just bought the ticket
that day.
That's crazy.
And so it was essentially just like my grandpa saying, hey, this is where you should be.
Yeah.
And so my dad, he has this little plaque of Minnesota. He has the baseball ticket framed, and then the baseball, I think Jack Jones actually signed it, and then he's got it sitting in the little trophy.
That's
with the date and everything of it.
And that happened the same day.
And
he wasn't even going to be there. And they bought the ticket because he knew that's what, like, your grandpa would want, is for them to go, like, have fun. Oh, that's like, so crazy. So they weren't even in, like, the same building. He was at home, and your dad was at the hospice center.
This was at my grandma's house.
At your grandma's house. Okay,
yes.
So Timmy, though, wasn't at that house,
He was not. He was at our house.
Right. So they were not in the same building when that happened.
No.
That's what's crazy, is, like, he had this dream. It's not like there's some way he could have been awake and, like, saw it happening. Like, he was in a completely different house.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And that obviously stuck with him if he remembers this many years later. Like, yeah.
Like, I'm a firm believer that if someone is going to come into contact you, they will. Mm-hmm. Like, my mom, after her mom passed, so my other grandma, she died of leukemia. For a couple years, I think, after she passed, Grandma never contacted her. My mom was just, like, in this super depressed state and everything. And I remember her telling me that there was one night where she was like, Mom, please, you've like, my aunt had seen my grandma in a dream, and like, she felt her come down and, like, talk to her and say, like, everything's gonna be okay. Mom was like, would you please just come down, let me know, just give me something that you're okay, that you're doing fine. And she said that my grandma came to her in a dream and said, Helene, you're gonna be okay, I'm fine.
That day?
Yeah, I think it was that day or that night she had a dream, and after that my mom just felt so much relief.
That's
and she just
crazy.
felt at peace
That's
from my
crazy.
grandma's passing. Yeah.
So I have 2 similar stories. Mm-hmm. So my mom, in between my brother and me, had a miscarriage. I don't know if you know that.
I think you told me.
Yeah. So I actually wasn't supposed to be born because my mom found out after she had me that she had problems with her, like, reproductive system, and she had to have surgery, and they basically said, you're never going to have any more kids. Mm-hmm. So if her second child had not miscarried, I would not be here. Which is so weird to think about.
And I wouldn't be sitting here.
And there wouldn't be this podcast. It wouldn't be the same. I know. So I, like, really weird myself out when I think about it. But essentially, so she had this miscarriage, and she was super, super sad about it. And she remembered getting a phone call from my aunt one time saying, Sue, like, it's going to be okay. I had a dream. You're going to get pregnant again, and you're going to have a Christmas baby. I had a dream.
What?
She was like, you're going to get pregnant again, and you're going to have a Christmas baby. And my mom found out, like, I want to say it was, like, within a couple of days that she was pregnant with me, and I was due on my aunt's birthday, January 7th, but I came early in the month of December.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So, like, I was literally due the day of my aunt's birthday, and my mom found out she was pregnant right after my aunt called her to say, I had a dream about you having a Christmas baby. And then I came early, and I wasn't born in January. I was born in December. 5 days after Christmas.
Oh, shit.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
That's
like, that
ridiculous.
Cannot be a coincidence.
No,
that is
not at all.
Craziness. Because my mom was so sad. Like, she was so sad about the miscarriage.
Yeah. Oh,
and then she got this news, and it was like, oh my God, like, what? You had this, like, dream, and now I'm pregnant, and I'm due, like, right when you said your dream said she would be due. Like, what the hell? That's craziness.
Holy shit.
The other thing is, after my grandma died, my brother... It was, like, the day after she passed, and my brother was really sad about it. I mean, everyone was really sad. She was so sweet. And my brother was like digging through all of his Tupperware because he was super irritated that he couldn't find the freaking lid to the Tupperware that he wanted. He was in his kitchen.
I relate so hard to that.
Oh my God. He was like so pissed. He was trying to find the freaking lid and he couldn't find it. And they had this whole like basket of like Tupperware lids and he's digging. He couldn't find the one he wanted. He couldn't find it. He finally got to the very back of the box of lids and he found a lid that my grandma had written on in permanent marker from like when my brother was in like first grade. This is like decades ago. And in permanent marker, it said, "Hi, Matt, it's Grandma." On the fucking Tupperware lid.
I just got so many chills in my body.
Yeah.
Oh
I did too.
God.
I just got chills. And he told that story at her funeral and everyone was like, oh my God, because
holy shit.
He was just like feeling so sad. It was like the day after she died and of like all the random times for him to dig to the very back of the Tupperware thing, which he never did. He was like, I just couldn't find the freaking lid and I'm digging and digging and digging. And that's the one I happened to pull up is a freaking permanent marker. "Hi, Matt, it's Grandma." Because she used to like write on the Tupperware for like his school lunches. She like sent lunch with him one day or something when she was like babysitting or something, and she had written on it in permanent marker, so it never faded. And and I remember, I know exactly what lid he's talking about because I've seen it. My mom had it for years.
Crazy.
I know, isn't that insane?
Holy shit!
Like that can't be purely coincidence.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yep.
All right.
So
friends.
So I'm so glad you read that story. That's really interesting.
Yes.
And thanks, Timmy, for sharing that.
Thank you, Timmy.
So,
thank you so much.
Guys,
I appreciate it.
If you have stories of anything weird dreams, anything unexplained or strange or paranormal, ghostly activity that you may have had, we've had some really good write-in stories lately. So let's keep it up, friends.
Keep them coming.
Because we want to hear them. So
yes, we do.
Send an email to nightmarenation19@gmail.com.
Or you can check us out on the social media. We have Instagram, nightmare.nation19, or the Facebook, nightmare_nation19. Check us out, like us, follow us.
Yes, please.
Comment on shit.
We post some somewhat interesting things sometimes. Anna does a great job managing our social media stuff. She's so good.
I try.
She does
social
great.
Media.
So yeah, talk with us. We want to hear from you. If you have recommendations of places you'd like to hear covered on the podcast, we love those too. We've gotten a lot of really good suggestions from listeners.
Yes.
And we just want to hear from you guys. We like to talk to our fans and we like to talk about scary things.
It's perfect.
Obviously, which is why we started the podcast.
That's why we're here a year later. So,
oh my God, guys, we just had our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, we're so old now.
It's so weird.
Gosh, so cool.
Hey.
Until next time, friends.
Guys, please
don't use a Ouija board.
Please don't.
Okay?
It's the worst.
It's just the worst.
Don't invite demons into your life.
Don't do it.
It's not worth it.
It's not.
Don't hold a seance.
Yeah.
Light candles for their fragrance, not for their demon
not for their demon
powers.
calling powers.
Thank you.
Don't do it. All right,
so
friends.
Guys, be safe.
Be safe.
Don't get possessed.
Don't be possessed.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.